Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the capital of the Midwest Coast, Chicago, Illinois, USA, this is Scott Pollock, Chief Editor of the Critical Post Chicago, reporting. Welcome to another edition of the Goldwater Report. Thanks again for tuning us in, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate it. As we reported to you in the last segment about our legal reality, on the anniversary of the September 11th, 2001 attacks, let's not forget that we reported we are in the midst of an undeclared but firmly in place World War III. Ladies and gentlemen, now that the quote-unquote big event of the first debate between the presidential candidates is over, and everyone in the bubblehead sphere has weighed in with their opinions, conservative, liberal, libertarian, and the tinfoil hat crowd, otherwise known as the Freedom Movement or Patriot Nutjobs, led by Alex Jones and the like, this comprehensive reality opinion is being offered by this anchor desk to bring a realistic perspective to the whole false advertising campaign by the partisan American community of journalism. The country's trajectory for over 100 years has been an evolution of economic fascism using the approach of gradualism. This gradualism's end result is now in full view. The quote-unquote conservatives are completely freaked out about it, while the liberals are in absolute support of the whole paranoid melee. The gradualism has been used in the following manner. It has been used to first project American industrial hegemony, and after having done that, using the Keynesian banking philosophy, to invade the Chinese and greater Asian mainland with American manufacturing know-how to perform a complete labor arbitrage, leaving the American industrial blue-collar union worker in the dust, along with their labor union bosses. This left the labor unions and organizers of that ilk to do one last thing: unionize the government workers across the American landscape, local, state, and federal. It's their last vestige of power. There's a pool of approximately 22 million government laborers to pull from. This outpaces manufacturing workers in the private sector by almost a 2-to-1 ratio. Many are members of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, or AFSCME, comprising 1.3 million members, and the Service Employees International Union, or SEIU, which boasts 1.5 million workers. The entire point of this opinion is to make the well-considered point that anyone who believes the trajectory of the country is going to change as a result of this next election, no matter who is in the White House, is in for a big, fat surprise. Nothing is going to change the trajectory of this country or the world. It's just a question of how much further left the country will speed toward and the velocity of that direction. Neither of the major party franchises has done anything to change the trajectory. Both of them aid its implementation. The Democrats represent the accelerator pedal, and the Republicans represent the brakes. That's how the party mechanisms work together to perform the gradualism of this ongoing socio-economic worldwide engineering. Folks on the right in this country have a naive, Pollyannish view. Folks on the left don't care and want more. The mushy middle is center left, in my opinion, and not center right. Everyone is very confused from a legal reality perspective. This will continue for as long as we're all alive. The Republicans and Democrats alike both represent one party, the banking party. Anyone who thinks it's any different is fooling themselves, and one thing for sure is the bankers aren't going to put themselves out of business. Consider the case that the conservatives used by citing the presidency of Ronald Reagan. The country was already socialist, so Reagan slowed the creep somewhat, but when it came to banking, which is the engine of this brand of economic fascism, President Reagan did as the bankers wished him to do. When there was a crisis, he used the American tax base to bail the banks out. Since Reagan's time in office, the accelerator pedal, relatively speaking, has been on the floor ever since. A comprehensive view of this activity, not only what the financial markets see, and not so clearly at that, but what they're not quite aware of, is in the following list. Here's the list, and not a complete list at that. 1. The invisible trust of off-the-ledger SWIFT banking system, Bank of International Settlements, Federal Reserve note monetary supply. 2. The worldwide clandestine intelligence operations role in the defense of the aforementioned supply, with the NSA and the CIA firmly in the lead, being aided by MI6 and Mossad. 3. How clandestine semantical operations work in concert with defending Western Alliance transnational manufacturing and public works projects around the globe. 4. How social engineering interplays with those clandestine operations to make Western cultures more supple to favor economic fascism. The Eastern cultures are already completely supple. 5. How the entire government structures from every country of the world are actually cooperating with each other behind the scenes regarding the next phase of this operation, and that phase is the space-based economy. And 6. How governments worldwide siphon off or steal monies from their respective tax bases by various means to participate in what can be termed a breakaway civilization operating quite cohesively right under everyone's nose, out of everybody's view. The latest example of a incredible siphoning of the American tax base is a report by the Army's Department of Defense accountants that they can't account for $6.5 trillion missing somehow in the ledgers of expenditures for the last many years during the latest presidency, which has largely been buried by everyone, everywhere, in all the media outlets, mainstream and alternative. No one's reporting it. No one is outraged or even remotely caring. The Army has until September 2017 to account for the missing funds. For America's people to remain completely ignorant of this conspiratorial structure, the information leading to any discovery is administered by the journalism companies, which use conspiracy theory linguistics models to hide from public view the legitimacy of whistleblowers and to discredit them. Not only can we not know the extent of the conspiracy, we can't name all of the most important individuals involved. There's no way the American public is going to be able to control the workings of the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the Bank of International Settlements, or the World Trade Organization. These are unaccountable world banking technocracies, and the candidates for president from the bicameral banking party are to some degree or other pathological liars. One knows he's lying, and the other is so power-hungry and delusional, she either doesn't care or perhaps is so pathological she doesn't even know she's lying. With a President Clinton, more control will be ceded to these organizations, and much quicker than, say, with a President Trump. However, ladies and gentlemen, were Mr. Trump to get into the Oval Office, it is the opinion of this anchor desk he's going to disappoint a lot of people by the end of his terms, whether it's 1 or 2 terms in office. When that disappointment sets in, it will be the last gasp of a generation of Americans who knew America as it was before the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy. The demoralization and the normalization that has followed will have been completed. The remaining 3 generations after the real baby boom, since 1960, have no idea of what the world was. They're indoctrinated into a paradigm that's completely different. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is a federal democracy and not a Republican, small r, constitutional government. How all this occurred and the details of the social engineering mechanism will be revealed in the next few detailed reports that's in the queue. Please stay tuned. Again, this is Scott Pollack, Chief Editor of the Critical Post Chicago, reporting. Thanks again for watching another edition of the Goldwater Report. That is all.